You can't bully yourself into peace. Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of me trauma dumping on the internet, where I finally start talking about what I actually did. So okay, here we go. My first actionable video. I'm so excited. Just to quickly recap why I'm out here making a fool of myself on the internet. I accidentally cured my anxiety, and I think you can too. You know, I used to think that my thoughts were just kind of happening to me, like these ugly little gremlins that snuck into my brain totally uninvited and just to ruin my day for who knows why. And I was basically just at their mercy. But then I realized something that literally changed everything in one instant. I was choosing my thoughts, every single one of them. That was my turning point. The day it hit me that I wasn't just stuck with whatever thought popped into my mind. I could decide which ones to lean into. Just because a thought pops in my head doesn't make it true, and it doesn't mean that I have to adopt it as a belief. Now, this is something that I originally got from Gabrielle Bernstein, but this is what you do. You notice the thought, you forgive yourself for, letting it in, and then you choose a different thought. And then you never think about it again. And it's just that easy. It almost sounds too easy. But once I started actually leaning into better feeling thoughts instead of the ones that make me feel like crap for no reason, everything changed for good. Once I realized that I was choosing my thoughts, I had another brutal realization. All of those painful, anxious, self-critical thoughts, they weren't random. I chose them, which meant I'd basically been my own bully my entire life, and that stung. Think about it seriously though. We're all out here just consistently hurting our own feelings, but why? That's when I started looking at my thoughts like seeds or weeds. And I think I got this originally from Shetty. Seeds are worth watering. They're worth nurturing. They have the potential to become something beautiful that you would want to nurture. Weeds are just clutter. They choke out the things that you're actually trying to grow. And I realized I had been very carefully tending a garden of weeds for years, and then loudly complaining that my flowers weren't blooming. And around that same time, I heard somebody say, worrying is just praying for what you don't want. Bro, shots fired, because I had been telling myself that worrying was a form of preparation. Like, if I imagine the bad thing happening ahead of time, then if and when it befalls me, I'll be okay because I saw it already. But it really just means you're suffering twice. All I did was plant more weeds in my garden, and I claimed to want flowers. Okay, but here's the practical tip that makes this actually doable. If you have a weed thought, I think we all do, that comes up for you more often than others, have a replacement thought ready to go. Think about it ahead of time. Have it planned out. Bonus points if it relates back to the original weed thought in a more positive way. So for example, when I was grieving my divorce and that situationship that I mentioned in the first video, one of the weeds that was coming up for me a lot was, I'm so lonely, I wish there was a man here. Who knows? So instead of lingering in that, I had a replacement thought that brought me back to gratitude. And I would think, my dog is so special, and I'm so blessed that I'm the one who gets to be his mom. Kind of like this is the only man I need kind of thing. But without a replacement thought ready to go queued up, your mind is going to do one of two things. A, it's just going to go blank. Think of something. You can't. You just can't. Or two, you'll just bounce right back to the weed thought that you're trying to squash. And that's hard not to. So unless you are prepared. And I know it probably sounds like toxic positivity, but I promise I don't only lean into the thoughts that make me feel good. There is a time and a place for tough emotional processing, but it's not every moment, it's not every location. But when I am processing, I'm intentional about it. And I will get into that in a later video, but I just want to make that clear. Now here's where it would be so easy to just get trapped in that familiar shame spiral. Just knowing that you can choose different thoughts doesn't make it easy to do it. Think of this as your first day at a new kind of gym. Is it fair to shame yourself for not being a bodybuilder on day one of working out? No, of course not. You're flexing muscles that you just learned about. Muscles that you've probably never seen someone else flex before either. So okay, if I've been my own bully for years, I figure the antidote must be become my own best friend. So I started talking to myself like I would talk to someone I love. I know it's sort of a cliche, everyone kind of says that, but it is so true, you guys. I can't emphasize it enough. So I would be gentle, I would be encouraging, I would be kind. I would be forgiving when inevitably there was a slip back into old bad habits. Because you can't bully yourself into peace. You can only love yourself there. So little by little, it worked. My classic triggers came up again in time and I didn't react in my classic way. And the wildest part, other people noticed before I did. Like they started describing me as graceful. Me, graceful. Just never in a million years, right? And that's when I realized something I'm doing is working. So that's the simple epiphany that changed everything. I have a choice. And I choose to water seeds. I choose to forgive myself quickly when weeds inevitably crop up. I choose to stop being my bully and start being my best friend. But truthfully, that one shift, realizing I had a choice, honestly, 65% of how I fixed my anxiety. And everything else that I will go on to talk about in future videos is just gonna build on this foundation. Now, okay, I said simple, but I don't mean to imply that any of this was easy because it took a lot of effort to get here. And not only is it really hard, but I still fuck it up on a regular basis, but that's okay. I choose to give myself the same grace that I give other people. So fucking it up is not a big deal. And it's wild because that's not something I ever would have said before 2023. So anyway, in the next episode, I want to talk more about radical honesty and setting realistic expectations for yourself that set you up for success. So, thanks for bearing witness to my word vomit. I'm so excited at the prospect of this actually helping someone, so please let me know if it does. Okay, thanks, bye.